When people turn to telehealth for weight loss, they're looking for real support. That's why more people are choosing OrderlyMeds.com. Orderly Meds connects you with real doctors and access to proven GLP-1 medications like semaglutide and tirzepatide. No guessing, just a more supportive experience, and all shipped directly to your door in discreet packaging. Do your research, ask questions, then visit OrderlyMeds.com/podcast for an exclusive offer. That's OrderlyMeds.com/podcast. Individual results may vary, not medical advice, eligibility required. See site for details.
Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why drivers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit Progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Looking for these better days.
It is Thursday, April 30th. I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's what you need to know to make today a better day. The Detroit Pistons stave off elimination, defeating the Orlando Magic. The Cavs take a 3-2 series lead. The Rockets avoid elimination once again against the Lakers. And on the ice, the Vegas Golden Knights in double overtime take a 3-2 lead over the Utah Mammoth. We'll have plenty more playoff action to break down. We'll get to it all and preview, of course, today's games with best bets. Mackenzie Rivers joins me on this episode of Better Day, presented by FanDuel. And Mac, we start in the NBA, where there's a couple of things at stake here. I got to be honest, we could be witnessing a historic NBA playoffs with multiple teams coming back from historic deficits, whether it's 3-1, which has only been done 13 times out of the 298 times it's happened, or a team coming back for the first time ever down 3-0, which has never happened out of 160 series where that has happened in the NBA playoffs. Let's start with a potential 3-1 comeback, and that is the Detroit Pistons against the Orlando Magic. Detroit winning last night 116-109. It is a win, but a non-cover for the Pistons against the Franz Wagner-less Magic, and this was the battle of the number ones. Cade Cunningham and Paolo Banchero, each with 45 points in historic performances. The Orlando Magic still lead the series 3-2.
Yeah, and the number creeps over after a very low-scoring third quarter, what a fourth quarter. I think this happens. So the odds say, we'll talk about the odds for the miracle, never-seen-before comeback, but the odds say this is pretty much 50-50. Pistons plus 110 right now. It all comes down to Game 6. The Magic have had a great home court advantage. They definitely miss the steady hand of Franz Wagner. If he's back, I would probably lean to them to get to the finish line in Game 6.
Pistons -3.5 in Orlando coming up tomorrow in game number 6. And then, of course, they'll be favored at home if they win in game number 7. So I do think Pistons get the job done here. One thing that's concerning in watching this game, and I bet him to go over his PRA and lost it last night, but Jalen Duren has been a shell of himself in this entire series, Mackenzie. This is a guy who in the regular season averages 20 points, over 10 boards per game, and in this series is averaging, 10 points per game and 8 rebounds per game. And he fouled out of one game. He got into foul trouble in 2 other games in this series. Now, I'm not one to spread TMZ rumors here, right? But there is widespread speculation on the internet that, Angel Reese, the WNBA superstar, has been, kind of trolling Jalen Duren by reposting some dunks that, he gets dunked on and stuff like that. And it just so happens that Angel Reese used to date Jalen Duren, and now she is dating Wendell Carter from the Orlando Magic. And so with Duren and Carter going against each other, maybe his head's just not in it right now. Maybe he's a little psyched out in this series.
Among 7-footers, there are not a lot of 6'2" babes like Angel Reese to go around. So I can understand the competition. That is an interesting theory. There might be something to it. I couldn't speak to it. I do know that, as we talked about earlier in the series, the Pistons had an incredible record versus most of the NBA. And then against the 60% or better club, they were kind of average, 10-13. Well, that kind of is the story of Andre Drummond, for example, another Pistons big that had 20 rebounds per game for one season or something crazy. I always say the last dinosaurs ate well. Jalen Duren against teams that are flip flopping around, that are throwing out different guys like Alex Sarr or something. Someone scores 80 points on him. He's gonna look dominant. He's gonna look like Dwight Howard in his prime, but he's not as skilled as some of like Apollo Banchero. He can't justify his way on the court when he's not bullying people around. And in the playoffs, you're not going to go against front courts that are that bad.
Mhm.
And the Magic, that's probably their strength, with Wendell Carter and Paolo Banchero.
Yeah.
So I just don't think I think he was just got a little overrated. This has been a Cade Cunningham, Allen Iverson-esque show the whole season.
Yeah. Cunningham sets the Pistons franchise record for most points scored in a playoff game. So think about that. The great history of the Pistons and all the players, including, Isaiah and Lambeer and others. Cade Cunningham, 45 points, the most scored in a Pistons playoff game. And how about Paolo Banchero, his 45, Mackenzie? 1 point shy of the Magic franchise record for points in a playoff game, held by
Shaq?
no
I'm guessing Shaq, Dwight Howard.
Dwight Howard 1 and Tracy McGrady 2.
Okay.
Both of them 46 points.
Tracy McGrady, famous for never winning a playoff series, but he did have some games. He definitely had some games.
I mean, that's a guy who, when we talk about like Hall of Famers, right? Like, how do we say this politely? One-dimensional players that are one of the greatest of all time. Like, and I'm not calling him one-dimensional. Maybe that's the wrong way of saying it. I'm saying that
shots fired, one-dimensional.
No. What I'm saying
Chucker is another way to say it.
No. What I'm trying to say is he's in the Hall of Fame for being one of the greatest scorers in NBA history.
You're saying dimensional as in like sometimes it's legacy, sometimes it's off the field, sometimes it's winning, sometimes it's stats.
I'm saying his thing was offense. His thing was offense.
Had 13 points in 30 seconds to beat the Spurs or something crazy, and he's had some famous scoring output, some crazy dunks and crossovers. That was big in the early 2000s. Him and Steve Francis led the league in highlight reels for the early YouTubes and Google videos. But he never put it together. Chauncey Billups is kind of the opposite paradigm. Talking of Pistons that never scored 45 like Cade Cunningham.
Yeah.
Just kind of steady, and generally his team's won more than you'd expect. Kind of the opposite with Tracy McGrady. And maybe Paolo Banchero so far in his career. Let's see if he gets this done or if he blows the 3-1 lead like the Magic shooting guard Tracy McGrady.
Yeah. No knocking here. McGrady is one of the greatest offensive players in NBA history, right? And I mean, same thing with Carmelo Anthony. Melo's in the Hall of Fame now. Melo's one of the greatest offensive players, one of the greatest scorers in NBA history.
Take Tracy McGrady better all time than Carmelo Anthony. His career will not be as decorated because, again, that playoff record speaks for itself.
Great point.
But just talent-wise, I think on an island, if I'm a defender, I'm more scared of Tracy McGrady.
Okay. We can agree to disagree, but I'm a Melo guy. Cavaliers, a 125-120 victory over the Raptors as they take a 3-game series lead.
Do you still have your Madison Square Garden a badge or whatever? Okay. All right.
Oh yeah, I got a whole pamphlet of those. I got a whole booklet and everything. So Cavs,
you and Charles Oakley.
Cavs take a 3-2 series lead over the Raptors. The home game has won every game of this series, and much like the Pistons, it was a win but a non-cover, which is very rare here in this NBA playoffs, where the team has won but not covered. It's only the 5th time in 36 games. No, 39 games. Only the 5th time that the team has won, but that the winning team didn't cover the spread. So, James Harden, 6 more turnovers, kind of disappeared in the fourth quarter. This game, I'm trying to say that I like the Raptors in game number 6, and it's because I feel like the Cavs have not done anything to impress me in this series. In games 1 and 2, okay, you win as the home team. You're the better team. You won 52 games during the regular season, but they don't win this game last night if it's not for Dennis Schroeder off the bench going 7 of 11 from the field. Like, Donovan Mitchell was not great. James Harden, as I mentioned, with 6 turnovers. I think Toronto forces a game 7, Mackenzie.
Dennis Schroeder of Germany fame, he arguably has had better big games in his career than James Harden at this point. Um, yeah, Evan Mobley, James Harden, Donovan Mitchell all kind of did enough not to lose it, but definitely not too inspiring. Cavs shot 50% from three. Schroeder a big part of that, and they win by 5 at home. Yeah, definitely not an upgrade for the Cavs after that one.
Game number 6 in Toronto. Cavs 4.5-point favorites tomorrow. I like taking the points with Toronto.
Yeah, wouldn't be surprised if this goes 7.
Yep. Also last night, the Rockets defeat the Lakers 99-93. This spread was disrespectful. The Lakers laying 4.5. Like, I get it. Austin Reeves came back, but he was very rusty. He played 34 minutes. He scored 22 points, 4 of 16 shooting from the field, Mackenzie, 2 of 8 from three-point range. He got most of his points at the free throw line, 12 of 13 from the free throw line. LeBron finished with 25 points, 7 assists, and 3 rebounds. The Lakers made a surge in the fourth quarter, but it was too little too late, and the Rockets win back-to-back games, and I am starting to come around to what you were saying. I think history gets made. I think the Rockets win Game 6 at home, and I think the Rockets win Game 7 in LA. They will become the first team to come back from 3-0 down to win a series.
One question is, if they win Game 6, as the market says they will, about 60% of the time as 3.5-point favorites, 4-point favorites, will there be pressure on Kevin Durant not to come back? Reportedly, that would be like right on the border of him coming back. But if they're, 0-3 with him trying to go and 3-0 with him definitely out, that'd be a very interesting side story. I thought that they would bring Austin Reeves off the bench. If not for this game,
They did.
for getting chemistry. I'm sorry. I thought they would start him because if not for this game where I thought he'd be a little rusty, you have to build up chemistry for the next rounds and the next games. But they kind of wanted LeBron to run the show, and it neither the first unit or the second unit really did it. LeBron -5 plus-minus, Austin Reeves -5 in 34 minutes.
Houston plus 220 up on FanDuel to win this series. They are money line -180 in game number 6
There's
at home.
30% chance that the thing that's never happened before in history will happen, and the Rockets will come back and win 4 straight.
So let's say they win that game, right? You put $100 on it, you win $55. Now you have $155. In game number 7 in LA, I actually think that if Kevin Durant comes back, they're definitely favored. But I actually think without Kevin Durant, there's going to be a market correction here. I could see the Rockets being 1.5-point favorites in LA after winning 3 straight games. What do you think?
With Kevin Durant, yes. Without him, I think there's going to be an adjustment from the 3.5. I think
all right, so 2.5-point dogs?
Yeah, but maybe 2.5-point dogs. So let's play
okay,
that. 2.5-point dogs.
So plus 115, we'll call it. And we'll say you're 155 at plus 150 at plus 114 wins 176. So you're 176 plus your 155, of course, right? Your initial investment is 320, which is better than the plus 220.
Yeah, I think you might get a little bit better than plus 115. So yeah, plus 125. Okay. The mechanical parlay remains. I want to say undefeated, but just better.
No, there's sometimes it's better.
Yeah,
sometimes,
it's like a 60% play.
Well, shop around. I mean, you can maybe you find a book that's giving you better than plus 220 on the Rockets to win the series.
It's a 60% play that the mechanical parlay beats the future, but it's probably better than that. It's probably like an 80% play.
Yeah. All right, let's take a look at the games for today in the association, and we will start with the play that we already bet. And that is the Boston Celtics -5.5 against the 76ers. Not only did I bet the -5.5, but we also did the team total for the Boston Celtics to go under. For the Philadelphia 76ers, to go under 103.5. This is the system play that we talked about. Celtics after a loss. Despite Joel Embiid looking as good as he did with the 33 points, I still think this line does not make sense. We talked about this a bit yesterday after, breaking down the Celtics loss to the Sixers. But Boston was a 6.5-point favorite in Philly in game number 4. And that was with Joel Embiid. Yes, he was a game time decision. Yes, maybe, you're thinking, well, if there was more time before the game, the market might have moved it down to 5.5. But there were 6.5-point favorites. Now they're 5.5-point favorites coming off of a loss. I don't understand it.
The trends of the Boston Celtics seem to be, the gift that keeps on giving, the golden goose. Uh, we said it all last year. At home, kind of 50-50, maybe below 50-50 ATS because they're always big favorites. On the road, they've been great. Off a loss, they've been great. They've lost twice in this series. They were both coming off times where they won easily, rested everybody in the fourth quarter, scored 120, and then the next game they lost. Well, this is the opposite scenario. I do like the Celtics here.
And you also like the Sixers team total under 103.5?
Yeah, it's moved down a little bit, but I still think there's value at the 103.5.
Okay. Knicks now up to minus 2.5 point favorites on FanDuel at the Atlanta Hawks, total of 213.5. You and I were both in agreement when this line was minus 1.5 that the Knicks would close out this series. Now seeing the money coming in on the Knicks and they are minus 2.5. Do you still agree? Knicks are the play here today.
Here are the best teams in the NBA in the playoffs by net rating. Number 1, Oklahoma City Thunder. They're 4-0 plus 17. Number 2, San Antonio Spurs. They're 4-1 plus 12 per 100 possessions. Number 3 is the New York Knicks. They're 3-2, and they are plus 12 per 100 possessions. They've really dominated this series, and the market moved from 5.5 to 6.5 before the last game. And the last road game, they were pick 'em 1.5. Now they're 2.5. I think the market makes a small adjustment, but that's because I think most people want to believe that there's trouble in New York and the Hawks are going to beat them. So I think there is value on New York.
Magic City wings for everybody. Finally, tonight, the Denver Nuggets at the Minnesota Timberwolves. Denver laying 5.5 as they look to force a Game 7. And we've talked about this already with the series odds, which is crazy. The Nuggets are down 3-2, yet they are minus 138 to win this series up on FanDuel. And that's because they are favored tonight, and they will be double-digit favorites at home if they win in game number 7. I actually think that Minnesota might be the play here tonight, Mackenzie. You talked about how Dosunmu coming off the bench to replace Anthony Edwards can surge in limited time, right? Which he did, right, with the great performance. But then playing his first game with extended minutes, something that he's not used to, it throws everything out of whack. I actually think now with like a day or so of practice to know that you're going to be in the starting lineup again, make some changes. I think the home crowd is going to be absolutely electric there in Minnesota. And I think Naz Reid has a better performance. I think Minnesota plus 5.5 might be the move. But I actually also think that the market's going to sway in favor of the Nuggets. So I might just recommend waiting and try and get Minnesota plus 6.5 later on today.
If there's one time where the types of players like Ayoma Dosunmu and McDaniel and et cetera can hit a bunch of shots, Gobert can make 10 out of 12 free throws, it's going to be at home in a game 6 to close it out. I do think the Nuggets eventually win this series. 60% times 90% is, 54% is just above 50-50. So it makes sense to me that they are favored even though they have 2 games to go. But if they lose it, it's going to be this game. And this game they might win very tight at the end.
Yeah, I do. Do you agree with me that money's going to come in on the Timberwolves, on the Nuggets? You think the spread goes higher than 5.5?
I'm surprised it's calmed down. Yeah, it was 6.5 at one point. Yeah, I would think it would close closer to that.
Yeah, that's what I think can happen as well. So my recommend, I would wait and just take the Nuggets plus the 6.5 here in this game tonight. Take the Timberwolves. Yes.
When people turn to healthcare for weight loss, they're looking for real support. That's why more people are choosing OrderlyMeds.com. Orderly Meds connects you with real doctors and access to proven GLP-1 medications like semaglutide and tirzepatide. No guessing, just a more supportive experience. And all shipped directly to your door in discreet packaging. Do your research. Ask questions. Then visit OrderlyMeds.com/podcast for an exclusive offer. That's OrderlyMeds.com/podcast. Individual results may vary, not medical advice. Eligibility required. See site for details.
Right now, new FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get $250 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. That's right. Turn $5 into $250 in bonus bets just for getting started. And when every possession matters in the playoffs, FanDuel makes it easy to get closer to the action. From player props and your favorite stars to all the tools you need to back them up, FanDuel puts player research right at your fingertips so you can check stats, trends, and matchups all in one place and make your picks with confidence. It's everything you need all in one app. So don't miss your shot. Head to FanDuel.com/believe. That's BLEAV to get started. FanDuel, play your game. 21 plus select states for Kansas in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino. 18 plus DC, Kentucky, Wyoming. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-MY-RESET. Call 1-888-789-7777. Visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org and call 800-327-5050 in Massachusetts. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. Call 877-770-7867 in Louisiana.
Stanley Cup action. Mackenzie Rivers, the Vegas Golden Knights in double overtime defeat the Utah Mammoth 5-4. Not only did they win the game in double overtime, but Mac, they got there because Pavel Dorofeyev scored with just under a minute remaining in regulation with the extra attacker on to tie the game at 4 and force overtime. It was his third goal of the game. Congratulations. He got the hat trick. And this was a play that we had last night on the Dorofeyev over 2.5 shots on goal. Naturally, he goes well over that, obviously. But we also, as we always recommend, whenever we do shots on goal props, we sprinkle on the goal scorer. So plus 200 on the Dorofeyev anytime goal was a cash. But I also mentioned in our Better Day community chat, and if you are a Better Day insider or a premium member and you're not in our community chat, from the Telegram channel where you get the picks on the Better Day Picks channel, just click the link in the pinned message to join our Better Day community chat. But anyway, in the chat, Mackenzie, I said after Dorofeyev got his second goal that I go for the hat trick and bet him. It was at plus 310, then plus 320, then plus 380 as the period kind of was ending.
How much time was left in the game?
Oh, at that point, it was only the second period. Okay. So it was, there was like 4 minutes left in the second period. Shea Theodore scores like 2 minutes later to give Vegas a 3-2 lead. So as you got closer to the end of the second period, the odds on Dorofeyev getting the hat trick got higher and higher. So you could have gotten like plus 300. And then in the third period, you could have even gotten higher. But I wouldn't bet it. I wouldn't have bet it after the Mammoth tied the game, certainly. And I wouldn't have bet it after the Mammoth took the lead. My thought was, it's a great situation to live bet the hat trick. We've talked about this before for a multitude of reasons. One, when a player scores 2 goals in a game, they're obviously hot. They're feeling it, right? They're playing with confidence. Confidence leads to more pucks on net, right? Sometimes guys pass up opportunities to shoot because they're not confident and they are hesitant to shoot and they wind up passing. And I find myself sometimes screaming at the television going, just shoot it on net. Like, what are you doing? But they try and get, I don't want to say get cute, but they try and find the perfect lane to shoot in. So they might be hesitant. They might pass the puck or whatever. But when a player scores 2 goals in a game, they're just firing on net. They're hot. They're feeling it, right? But also their teammates know it as well. And the teammates are feeding that player. But what happens is, and this is more so a regular season bet rather than a postseason bet, but if you have the lead late in the game and the net is empty, the team often passes to the guy to try and get the hat trick, especially at home, right? And the coach will send that guy out on the ice with the empty net for him to get the hat trick and celebrate in front of their home fans, right? They want that to happen. In the playoffs, I said not so much the case, because if you have a 1-goal lead in the playoffs and the other team pulls the goalie and you get the puck, you're firing it on net. You're not trying to pass it to a guy to get a hat trick. But if you have a 2-goal lead and in the playoffs, teams, if they give up an empty net goal and now they're down 2, guess what? They're going to pull the goalie again, right? So if you're up 2, that's when the players can kind of feed the guy to try and get the hat trick. So I did put that in the community chat. I said, you could bet it to get 3 goals. If the Knights have a 2-goal cushion with an empty net, they will absolutely feed him. I played it at plus 310. It was plus 330, plus 380. And yes, he winds up cashing it in dramatic fashion. So unbelievable. VGK now up 3-2, and gut-wrenching loss once again for Utah. They're just, sometimes you got to lose before you win. We've said that before.
VGK now minus 490.
Yeah.
Man.
Mm-hmm.
They had their chance. They had 2 chances.
Utah had 2 chances, right? Elsewhere yesterday, the Flyers eliminate the Penguins 4-2. They win 1-0 in overtime, and the trends came through, Mac. We talked about how in 15 games in the database with teams that were down 3-0 and forced a game number 6 by winning 2 straight games, those teams were only averaging 1.9 goals per game. And so Penguins team total under 2.5 was the play. They didn't score a single goal last night. So congratulations to the Flyers, who advanced to take on the Carolina Panthers in the second round. And the Canadiens get a 3-2 win over the Lightning. We said Canadiens plus a goal and a half, if you could stomach the juice, was the play, because every game in that series has been a 1-goal game, and that holds true. 5 games in the series, 5 1-goal games, and the Canadiens are up 3-2. Tonight, the Minnesota Wild will look to close out the Dallas Stars on home ice. Minnesota, we've talked about how much they're dominating this series at even strength, outscoring the Wild 14-4 in even strength in this series. Or excuse me, Wild outscoring the Stars 14-4 at even strength. I think Minnesota closes it out. Now, some people might not be aware of this, but the Minnesota Wild and the Timberwolves don't play in the same arena, so it's not like, Flyers.
They don't even play
Sixers.
in the same city.
That actually
They play
that
in the
is
same
correct.
metro, not the same city.
That is correct, because Minneapolis, St. Paul, the Twin Cities, yes. The Wild actually play in St. Paul.
Actually.
Yes, they play in St. Paul. The Timberwolves play in Minneapolis. So, yes, that makes a ton of sense. Yes, so that's
so you're taking the Wolves, right?
I'm taking the Minnesota double dip tonight.
Taking the Wild. Oh, the double dip.
It's the Minnesota double dip. It's the Wild and the Timberwolves. The Minnesota double dip
plus
tonight.
1.5 plus 5.5.
No, Minnesota is a short favorite. They're like minus 122. So plus the 5.5 or plus the 6.5 on the Timberwolves, and Minnesota minus 122 up on FanDuel. Wild.
I'm taking the plus 1.5. I'm getting a little insurance on my parlay.
You're gonna do the alternate spread then?
Yeah. What is it? Minus 300. It's gonna cash.
Let's see. Alternate spread. Let's see if we can find an alternate spread for you. It's gonna be heavily juiced, yes, because it's not posted yet, but it will be posted, and then you'll have to
If it's better than minus 300, I'm throwing that on my parlay with the Wolves and the points, and we're all cashing.
Okay, you know what? Let me hold on. I'll price it out for you right now. I have the line. Let's see. So you want the Minnesota Wild on the alternate, okay, plus a goal and a half.
Reverse puck it up. Yep.
Reverse puck it up. So Minnesota plus 1.5 is minus 320. And you want to parlay that, Mackenzie, with just the straight up minus 110,
yeah.
on the
grab the
Timberwolves.
6.5. Yeah.
Well, it's 5.5 right now at reduced vig at minus 105. Your 2-leg parlay is plus 156.
That's a nice Thursday night. That's a cash right there.
That's a nice Thursday night in Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Yeah, right.
But wait,
it's springtime. The snow just melted last week.
But wait, what if I do you one better?
Are the Twins playing?
That's what
down the street.
They are. The Twins are playing at Target Field tonight. So we have the Timberwolves at Target Center. We have the Twins at Target Field, and we have the Wild at some sort of casino place. I forgot the name of it, but it's a casino arena, Grand Casino Arena, maybe.
Seems illegal.
So the Twins tonight are dogs at home to the Blue Jays. So how about plus 1.5 on the Twins on the run line?
Oh yeah, definitely take the insurance plus 1.5.
Okay.
Yeah, at home dogs. You kidding me?
Your 3-leg Minnesota parlay plus 320.
Let's go.
And that is the Twins plus a 1.5, the Wild on the alternate spread plus 1.5, and the Timberwolves plus 5.5. Minnesota 3-way plus 320.
The snow has thawed parlay.
I thought Minnesota 3-way was just a great name, and you didn't acknowledge it at all. So
this is what RJ would always get mad about. You just had your own metaphor ready to go. You just didn't let it breathe. You didn't let my metaphor breathe.
I feel like that's the name. It's like an old bar story. It's like, oh yeah, I brought her downtown to Moose. All of a sudden, it's a Minnesota 3-way.
All right, yours was better.
All right.
I copped it.
One other game tonight on the ice, the Oilers at the Ducks. I do think Edmonton forces a Game 7. The numbers that we talked about on the other pods previously, Oilers under Chris Knobloch in Game 5 or beyond in a postseason series, they are 12-4. So I do think the Oilers win here in Anaheim and force a game number 7 because that is what they do. All right, we teased one baseball game, Mackenzie, with the Minnesota Twins tonight, the only night game on the schedule, actually. We do have 2 doubleheaders today in Major League Baseball. We have the Giants and the Phillies. Game 1, Logan Webb for the Giants, Christopher Sanchez for the Phillies. Game number 2, no announced pitchers just yet. And then we also have a doubleheader between the Astros and the Orioles in Baltimore, where Chris Bassett's on the mound for the O's in Game 1 against Peter Lambert for the Orioles, and in Game number 2, Lance McCullers for the Astros and Brandon Young for the Orioles. Now, this season, playing the loser of the first game of the doubleheader, 2-1. So you're 2-1. The team that lost was the New York Mets, who...
All right, that barely counts, but it's a notable data point.
I mean, they have the worst record in Major League Baseball. What are you going to do? You know,
they need more money.
Yeah. Since the start of the 2021 season, for those of you who are asking, the team that lost the Game 1 of the doubleheader in Game number 2 of the doubleheader, 121-101 straight up.
20 games above 500 for losers, for teams that we know one thing about them is that they lose.
That is 54.5%. If you bet on every one of those teams since the start of the 2021 season, you are up $2,215.
It's not a bad subset.
If we just go back 10 years, let's start with the 2016 season, Mackenzie. So the last 10 years, 54% straight up, 210 and 179. You are up $3,360 over the last 10 years, just betting the loser of Game 1 to win Game 2 of a doubleheader.
What's the average line? I'm guessing there's like dogs.
Average line is pretty much even money.
Interesting.
Yep, that's in the last 10 years. Average line is literally plus 100.
Yeah, so that's underdogs on average. You know, minus 120 plus 100.
Yeah, I'll ride it. I'm gonna do it. Play both dogs. Play both losers of game number 1. I do like a play, though, in the early game between the Tigers and the Braves. That is our sweep avoidance system, which this year, it's not about the teams avoiding the sweep, Mackenzie. It's the game going under. That has been the play. Over 60% games going under for the sweep avoidance system in Major League Baseball. The gift that just keeps on giving is just playing the unders in these games. 35, 24, and 2. So we will be playing the under 8.5 between the Braves and the Tigers with Framber Valdez on the mound for the Tigers, Bryce Elder for the Atlanta Braves. All right, that'll wrap up this episode of Better Day. As a reminder, you can follow us across all your social media platforms. Make sure you hit us up on Twitter at better_day, on YouTube as well. Daily free plays up on the website at betterday.com. For Mackenzie Rivers, I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's hoping you make today and every day a better day.
When people turn to telehealth for weight loss, they're looking for real support. That's why more people are choosing OrderlyMeds.com. Orderly Meds connects you with real doctors and access to proven GLP-1 medications like semaglutide and tirzepatide. No guessing, just a more supportive experience, and all shipped directly to your door in discreet packaging. Do your research, ask questions, then visit OrderlyMeds.com/podcast for an exclusive offer. That's OrderlyMeds.com/podcast. Individual results may vary, not medical advice, eligibility required. See site for details.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.